Hey, I'm Andy Sumners, Sumners Farm, um, in cattle business with my dad, Stanley Sumners. We're in North Alabama, about an hour and a half north of Birmingham, an hour south of Huntsville, just kind of in between there. Uh, Place called Sand Mountain, a little bit of sandy soil and all here. Um, we raise South Pole, registered South Pole cattle, have been since 2006, started with 20 head and now up to a little over 100 mama cows, all registered females here. Running about 6 herd bulls here, and we DNA test for sire. We do some rotational grazing here, plant winter annuals and summer annuals also, and have a little system that works for us here. The cows get about an hour a day of grazing on what you see here. On this mix here we have black oats, kale, radish, vetch, and knee-high clover and crimson clover. We get this in the ground hopefully by September 15th. That's kind of our magic date here. We've played around with some different dates on that, and that seems to be the number that works the best for us here. And very minimal fertilizer now. We've been doing annuals for 7 to 8 years here. I tell everybody this ground wouldn't have grown a rock when we started this, and now it's the best soil on our farm. Like I said, very minimal fertilizer, probably a ton to ton and a half of chicken litter is about all this gets. And then of course with our clovers and everything we plant in the summer, that just helps with all the fertilizer needs. Our summer is our millet, buckwheat, cowpeas, and sun hemp. Kind of the same deal there with as we do in winter. We get in the ground hopefully April the 15th. Usually 45 to 50 days we're grazing. So by June 1 we anticipate grazing, and with any kind of moisture at all we'll get usually 3 rounds of grazing per strip on all these fields that we plant. And we'll be grazing that all the way through until we get ready to plant our winter mix September the 15th. How we manage our grazing here is once we start the grazing after planting, we'll give them strips that's usually around 30 to 40 foot wide, 200 foot long, so not much more than a quarter of an acre, about a third of an acre actually. 40 to 50 head of cattle on that for about 45 minutes to an hour. When we let them in here, they're waiting at the gate ready to go, and when we come back and they hear us coming, usually they're picking up their heads and they're walking off, and we don't really even have to push them very hard to get them off of here. Do that with both our winter and our summer annuals. And then they go back up to what we call in our sacrifice pasture, where it's perennials, fescue, Bermuda pasture. In the winter we do feed hay. We feed Bermuda hay. And we also have done some baleage out of our winter grazing that we've had real good luck with, and fed that along with our dry hay and supplemented with that. There've been some tests ran here on summer and our winter, and on the summer grazing, what has come out of that has the cattle was getting what they needed in nutrients in that hour for their daily requirements, and then going back and grazing for the rest of the day in the perennial pasture. Winter, not so much, but the protein and all was so great in numbers that they're getting just about what they need here in that hour also, and then going back to their hay and their haylage. If you're thinking about starting to do strip grazing, rotational grazing on winter or summer annuals, I suggest just go visit some farms, see what everybody's doing, and kind of get some different ideas from different farms. I tell everybody that's here, what we do here not necessarily going to be what works for you at your place, but you can take some ideas off of each place and put together something that works at your farm. There's people that will let their cattle graze for 2 or 3 days or even a week. They're still rotational grazing but they're moving them, and that's fine. But you just got to find out what works for you and what you have time for. Just here, I'm a full-time farmer, have poultry houses and the cattle, so we're here and able to move these cows more intensively than some folks are able to do. But whatever you do, do what you enjoy doing, and do what you can do. Don't make it where it's just like a job every day to move your cattle. So you know, just go visit some farms. That's what I encourage you to do.